Yes, welcome to another episode of the MotoGP podcast, Last on the Brakes. And this time, those of you who are joining us live on TV will see it is Massimo Rivola, the CEO of Aprilia Racing. And if you're listening later on audio, thanks for joining us as well. Massimo, we'll go straight into it with the easy question. We were just saying, not the best weekend in Argentina, but an incredible moment in general for Aprilia. But how are you? Third race of the season, longest season ever. How's it going at the moment? All good?
Yeah, so far so good. Really, we didn't achieve what we expected to achieve. I would say that Argentina had a very high expectation, looking what we did the last year, and also after Friday, that was quite a good one.
Friday, it looked like everyone should be scared of you.
So from the best to the worst. I think we didn't achieve what we were supposed to achieve simply because we didn't work properly, and so a good lesson for us that I hope that we'll learn. But I think that we are competitive. The bike is still not where it should be, but we are for sure in the right direction.
Well, it seems in general over the past few years that Aprilia really have been on the right direction. We've seen an incredible difference between now, obviously Aleix winning last year, Maverick got really close, like 4/10 at Silverstone as well, compared to the first few years of the project when it was a bit tougher. What is the biggest difference now? I know Maverick, I think in Argentina, said that this year just like the people, the team, how it fits together is really important for him. What have you changed since you've arrived in the role to really take those steps forward?
Well, I always say that we have a better bike because we are a better company. So since thanks to our group, Piaggio Group, decided to invest in MotoGP, we grow as our investment, number of people. We have really very good people coming from not just F1, that is my ex-word, let's say.
We will ask you about that as well.
But MotoGP with, let's say, I think the company is a good mixture of knowledge and with a very good potential. So I really see a bright future for us.
Well, it certainly seems that way at the moment. And for people who don't know then, what is the role that you have now? Because obviously a few years ago we saw Romano Albesiano, who headed up the whole project. Then it split, you arrived, and he's kind of the technical side of the team now. So what is it you do in the day-to-day as kind of the boss of the whole kind of Aprilia project here?
Yeah, for me, reorganizing the company was, I don't want to say an easy job, but obviously, Romano is a super engineer, and my priority was to give his 100% of time to be dedicated to the performance, and for sure adding more people coming from, as I said, MotoGP and also different awards gave a big boost to the company. I found in Noale a fantastic hardware, but also some very, very good competencies and the passion for their job. So let's say it was a matter of coming back to the old good times that these guys passed many years ago, and give them the chance to say we can do it again. So it's a different world, but we can do it.
Like you've got the puzzle pieces and you feel like just putting them in the right place to...
Yeah, but it's interesting that also when you bring new people from different world, that there is a cultural, let's say, aspect to consider. We are very happy about working with young guys coming straight from university, and so we have good senior people and very good junior people too. So it's a nice compromise, a nice combination of talent.
Well, talking of then coming from a different culture, your career, obviously, the biggest successes you had before you joined Aprilia were within Formula One. You were Scuderia Ferrari, and then before that, Minardi, Toro Rosso. What kind of experience from that have you felt has been really useful in MotoGP? Is it something where you can transfer any of that stuff to here, or is it a completely new world?
I would say that all the experience that every one of us does are useful to the job that you are going to do, but And obviously being a motorsport, let's say life in my case, after 20 years of F1, for sure I'm bringing to me some competencies that can be useful. But at the end, I mean, I'm one of that guy that believe in a lot in the work and in the teamwork in particular. So the combination between a very different culture and personalities, age, that is, let's say, the most difficult but interesting job from my side. At the end, I think that everyone in Aprilia Racing now is quite motivated. Finding the motivation maybe a few years ago was not easy. When I joined the company and I said that we will go and win, maybe they thought that it was a bit crazy. Now they understand that I mean, there was a plan behind that, and we are respecting that plan. So as I said, I'm really looking forward to our future.
Well, we're looking forward to watching it as well, especially you're seeing in pre-season. Maybe it's been a little more up and down so far, but in pre-season you look like the closest factory to Ducati. It looks pretty exciting future. We'll come back to bikes. I want to ask you more about you and your past for people who don't know. So what was your role kind of in your first years in Formula One once you were in kind of Minardi and Toro Rosso? I
joined Minardi on the marketing, maybe more sorry about sponsoring, because you know money are always the big drama.
And that's a great quote. Money is always the big drama.
And then I moved quite quickly to be the team manager of Minardi, so the sporting director. So I was very lucky to be sporting director when I was 30 years old, and working with drivers, also with young drivers that became very famous. Like Fernando Alonso was 18 when he joined Minardi. Sebastian Vettel was 18 when he joined Toro Rosso, because then when Red Bull bought Minardi and we became Toro Rosso, I was covering the same role. And then
you were there when you took the first win at Monza as well.
Yeah,
weren't you?
still a big emotion. Still a very similar emotion to what I had last year in Argentina.
That's what I was going to ask. You've had that first win feeling with your project a couple of times.
Obviously, the one in Argentina, I feel closer because I feel a bit. I mean, I made an actor of that, and for sure one of those that believe the most in what we could have achieved. But as I said, now one is not enough. I mean, we need to kill the big fish, not the small one. We did the small one only. And then in 2008, Stefano Domenicali, that at the time was sporting director in Ferrari, told me that the following year he will replace Jean Todt as a team principal, and he asked me to be the sporting director in Ferrari, and that was my dream. So I did it for 7 years. It was a super experience, and also working with Stefano was quite important to me, because for me, you know, I had also a teacher, not just a boss. And then, let's say, the last 3 years in Ferrari, I moved to the academy. So I was in charge of the Ferrari Driver Academy. I was super lucky because I got Charles Leclerc. That
was going to say, it's a good time to be in charge of the academy.
But also many other drivers that now are in F1, like Zhu, the Chinese guy. Robert Schwartzman, and then I had Antonio Fuoco, that now is let's say the fastest of the group of the hypercar, the new hypercar. So very good time. And then by chance I received a call, and I met. I think it was at the end of 2018. I met the Colaninos family, and they told me they were looking for someone to make Aprilia great again. And then said, I came back home and I said to my wife, I think we have a problem, because I was looking for my future always in Ferrari, obviously, as an Italian. But I love motorbikes. Aprilia was my first bike, and I really love this brand.
So there's a real personal connection.
So at the same time, Charles reached F1, and that was a a target that I had since Jules Bianchi passed away in Ferrari and in the unlucky incident in Suzuka. And then I felt it was the case to change. And then I've got a super motivation. I found super people close to me, and now my only mission is to win the title.
That's also a great headline quote. You've given us too many options here for the promo of this episode. But obviously now you're in Aprilia, you've taken that first win. So what you said when you began this project has already happened. Now you say you want to win that title. What are the next steps on the kind of within the team? We'll talk about the riders as well, but what do you think are you missing? What's the next focus as a company?
I don't think we are still ready to win the title now, but I think we will soon. You know, it's a bit of here and there, making a better organization, be more efficient in what we are doing, mixing the teamwork better than what we are. There is always room to improve. If you ask to a rider what he wants, he will tell you more horsepower, better electronic, better aero, the bike
every
that should
thing, a bit better.
Yeah, a bit better of everything. We can do it.
Okay, well, I love the confidence here. I now feel like I'm going to live the rest of my day like, yes. So let's talk about...
If you feel confident, this is the approach key. You have to. That is the key. If you feel you can do it, you will do it. If you even don't think.
I'll try and hang on to that throughout the weekend. But certainly someone who has hung on to that a lot is Aleix Espargaro.
Sure.
The rider who took that very first win for Aprilia and for himself as well. Talk to us then about the project now, because you've had different riders as it's grown. Now you have Aleix and Maverick. In terms of Aleix, how is he to work with, and how has it been also to see him grow so much within the project? Because now he is like that confident front runner. He's like, yeah, I belong here. Yeah, I belong in the fight for the podium.
Well, regarding Aleix, I think for me is a sort of, I don't want to say revenge, but a rider that was always on the limit, and when I started in 19, he crashed a few times, but he was just giving everything he had, and he didn't accept really to stay behind. This is why, and this is what a rider needs to have inside. So the fact that we grew with him, and I'm super happy that he was the one that got the first victory for Aprilia, because I think he deserved that. We call them the captain for good reason.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
And now that I tell you that getting Maverick, it was a big part of that. So I was in contact with Aleix. What does Maverick say? Okay, how is this feeling? Do you think we can do it? So it was quite. He behaved like a captain, really. And he still do that, and now he has a problem in a way, because Maverick is really focused.
You've beat me to the next question.
But I feel really lucky, and I know that sooner or later there will be a problem between the two. But we made the things quite clear before starting racing this year. With all 5 riders. Even with Lorenzo, with Miguel and Raul, that I'm super happy that they joined Aprilia Racing. So, at the end, they know that they respect each other. It's the key, and they have a million of, let's say, chances to show if they are doing or not on track and outside the track.
I was going to say, when you say you've made it clear, you mean you've made it clear that you can race, but please do not.
Well,
go over that limit.
They know better than us what they are doing on track. The level of the MotoGP rider now is really, really high. And we are speaking about riders that I think they can calculate even centimeters in where to put the wheels, and the way they think, how fast they do that. as something behind. So if their mind is clean, they race in a way. If there is something against someone else, they race in a different way. So I appreciate the fact that in particular Maverick and Aleix in the sprint races maybe had a bit of fight.
We saw them kiss and make up on the rider parade.
Yeah, well, in that specific moment was a bit panicking from my side, but they did it in a very sporting way. At the end, the question is, was it right to do it or not from the simple lap time point of view? Maybe not, but sometimes it's also good that they measure each other, is their language also to communicate, so I totally understand that. So I also, as I said, since I was 30, I always work with drivers, and I think I understand quite well what they have in their mind in the specific moment and why they are doing something or not. So maybe in front of the press they can declare something different, but I think I know that. But I really appreciate the fact that they respect what they are doing on track. And still, the best moment after the sprint race was that as soon as they came into the box, they went to each other. Aleix went to Maverick. They was just jumping out of the bike, and they hug each other. So it was a funny moment, a nice moment. Obviously, it was for a position that was not good enough. But I think we have to take what the race is giving you and take out the best out of it.
So, okay, that's a good insight then into that balance. And we will talk about adding 2 more Aprilias to the grid. First of all, though, Maverick. Now, it was quite a high-profile few weeks when Maverick ended up joining Aprilia. Plenty of people had plenty of things to say. From your side, what was the key attraction? Because obviously, he's shown incredible speed before. He's got plenty of race wins. World Championship in Moto3 as well, and I think he was very proud when he won here in Moto2. In the press conference he was like, yeah, I did it one before Mark did. So he's got quite a good record, but that was obviously quite a crazy situation with no precedent. What really made you be like, okay, we need Maverick and we're going to go after him now and get him?
I think Maverick wants to show that is that kind of rider that can win a title. And I fully believe that he can do it. Building the confidence in his career, and especially what happened just when he left Yamaha to move to us, is not easy from inside. So for sure we need to help him to build the confidence. I think that all the things we did from the technical side and also from the human side worked quite well, and I feel he's really on spot. I mean, I see him more focused than ever, despite I work with him not from so many years, but I can trust Maverick can be one of the main actors of this year.
Well, so far he's, maybe not quite got those wins podiums that you wanted so far, but some solid points. Yeah. And also not having a tougher start of it quite as much this time. Seems to have got off to a few better starts when the lights go out. But when you renewed him as well, you really gave him time to adapt to the bike. There was no I think there was a lot more pressure from everyone who wanted to make sure they said something about it than there was from your side or from his side. So what made you invest in that future?
The talent of Maverick, I'm not discovering it. I mean, everybody in the world knows about that. If you want, for me, is a sort of also a challenge to get the best out of him. And for sure, giving stability, stability paid, always paid. We saw with Aleix, stability paid, and I'm sure it will work with Maverick. The good thing is that we have riders with fixed, with let's say, a plan for the next future. So You don't have to think about what will happen. Just think about being as fast as possible.
Just
this is
come here,
quite important.
race, go home,
Yeah.
repeat. So in terms of the plan then from the Aprilia side, it's expanded this season with 2 more Aprilias on the grid with the RNF team. Was that something that was really important to you guys to expand your presence?
Yes.
And why? Is it about the data and the kind of technical side of it more, or what is the kind of key?
It's many things. For sure, having 4 Aprilias is better than 2, at least for statistics. It's good to have under contract as Aprilia Racing 2 more riders, very talented riders, and for sure for the data is really important. Despite the bike is not a 223, but is let's say latest 22. Data are very, very important. I think that the big advantage that Ducati has is having 8 bikes. Okay, for statistics, but also, but mainly for data, especially with the new format of the race weekend, where you don't have time to set up the bike. You need to FP1. You need to be ready straight away, and the more data you have, the more likely you are ready. So quite easy to understand.
I remember Davide Todozzi told us last year. He was like, people complain about so many Ducatis, but people could use other bikes. Like it's not them. But well, I guess from your side of it,
no, I think
when there's 8 of them,
it's very easy. Obviously, when you have so many bikes, there's something wrong in the balance of the championship. They could be good bike or bad bike, but in the balance of the championship, is not good for the championship. I don't care if it's a Ducati or a KTM or whatever. I think that should be balanced, but I mean, it's like that, and then full stop. We need to work. And
you want to see that reduce rather than think, right, we're going to bring another 4 Aprilias. You think it should be kind of a little more balanced across the grid?
To be honest, I think that the normal format should be constructor and a satellite team for everybody, and that would be easy. Maybe it means 2 bikes less. Well, at the same time, I don't feel that we have to have 22 bikes. Maybe 20 is already a good number. In F1, and there are 20 cars. But the more the championship is put in an equal condition, even if we will never be equal, obviously, the more I think the championship is interesting.
Well, for sure. I mean, that's why I think everyone's so happy to have seen your potential in pace this season and to seem to have cut that gap a little bit to Ducati, because we obviously want that competition, and it's great between riders, but we also love it when it's between factories, teams, and all of those extra storylines as well.
It was good to have KTM in front. Obviously, I would prefer to have an Aprilia in front, but the surprise in Portimao or the start of Brad in Argentina, but there were many things that are, I think, good for our sport. I think we need to. We are always thinking about our own garden, and we try to get the best for us. But we need everybody to be part of this game that is also a business at the end, and the business must be sustainable. And if people doesn't come and watch the races because they feel they are boring, then it doesn't work.
It also doesn't work for Aprilia, even if you win every one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, well, yeah, it's great to hear that there are kind of those balanced interests, because I think it's really easy from the outside to expect Aprilia will only ever care about Aprilia. It's like, no, everyone in the sport has to consider all the different parties for everything to work together and to create. I mean, it is an incredible sport as it is. There's always those things, like you said about the team as well, there's always those little things you can always try and improve. But rewind back to Miguel Oliveira, who's back here. That seems, I don't know, not a surprising choice, because obviously there was like, oh, will he renew with KTM, will he not? And then you've got him with RNF. That must have been kind of a real coup for you guys to be able to get Miguel, especially. How did you approach him and convince him to sign up to the project?
To be honest, when I saw Miguel, I couldn't believe that I did it. Because for me, Miguel for sure is one of the potential, again, another potential champion. So we have, as I said at the beginning, I think we have 4 riders that are really with a huge potential. He showed straight away in Portimao. Clearly, he is on, let's say, on track in a way. But we know that he can do very good thing. I think also his style match quite well our bike too. And yeah, we are looking forward to have I say 4 riders with that kind of level will motivate also each other. One of the main reasons why Aleix wanted to have Maverick was to fight with a top rider, to see can I beat also a top rider. See, so that with that kind of spirit, like in the company, I don't want to have people that come to say yes. I want a big couple to be better than me, so I can also learn and they can. So the competition must be everywhere. It's the racing spirit must be everywhere in a company like
so
this.
Even in the company, I love
Absolutely.
this insight. Again, I'm feeling like, yeah, I'm going to go forth and really smash the rest of my afternoon. But in terms of Raul then, obviously Miguel, proven track record. Raul had a tough rookie season after that incredible showing in Moto2, and then now he's with you guys. The approach we saw, like we said, with Maverick was very much like giving him time, making him feel like he's at home, like he knows that he's, you know, he's got that support behind him.
Yeah.
Is that a similar approach with Raul? Is he kind of...
Absolutely. I was laughing because we have the oldest and the youngest of the grid in 4 riders. And yeah, absolutely, he's 22, so in his time. I think the year he did last year was not what he wanted, so it was not in his best condition, but what he did in Moto2, no one else did it, so it means something. There must...
yeah, he beat some Marquez records.
There must something
Moto2.
there, so we need to give him time to discover what is there exactly. And also what he did in Moto3 was quite interesting. In 19 I was watching the races, and also with Romano. Who's this guy is living alone with him in Moto3? Nobody in Moto3.
Well, Maverick did it in Moto3.
Yeah, but that kind of, it means that kind of rider is something special, and I'm sure Raul has as well.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, it's obviously great to see if we can see Raul back to that Raul that we saw in Moto2. I think he won here, didn't he? In that season. Really, really incredible stuff that he showed there. So with 4 riders then, it's a dream in a lot of ways. At what point does it become a little bit more difficult to dream when you do have the oldest and the youngest balancing what they want? Who is in the factory team? Does it actually make much difference eventually who is in which team? Kind of what, do you have a plan with that, or is it just trying to give everyone the best that you can and kind of...
Well, at the moment everything is related also by the contract with the RNF, where they get the previous year bike. Obviously, the more past the years, the more the previous year is closer to the current one, so the gap will be always less and less. Well, the plan is that if in 2 years' time, so at the end of 25, there will be some changes.
We're in 23 now.
Yeah, there will be some changes in the factory team. Let's say the priority will be given to the RNF guys. So obviously Miguel is supposed to be the oldest of the 2, so the one that grows in a more consistent way. So is let's say the first candidate in a way. Let's see if Aleix wants to continue or not. I saw many times he said, okay, last 2 years and then I retire.
But he's still
we
here.
will see, because if I look at how we keep training, I think he can continue until 60, 70 years old at least. So let's see. But making a long-term plan is always difficult, because you see in racing, it's very difficult to predict. The number of riders in the last race was not really a good message also, but we have a sport that is quite dangerous. Riders know. I think that we all should think about getting serious action before it's too late. And I think we got some messages from the first 2 races that sometimes, especially with this format, riders need to to be called and say, think twice about what you are doing and the approach you are getting.
Okay, so do you mean kind of, obviously we spoke to Razlan last weekend, who was in the centre of that storm with Miguel, which we had another update on today with the Court of Appeal. What do you mean in terms of like sanctions being a little bit tougher to make everyone calm down, or just kind of trying to send that message?
If you don't start penalizing properly the riders, riders will keep doing that until they are not the victim. It's very simple. And the interesting thing is that riders are asking to be penalized because they know that they will get benefit from that. It was the same in Formula One. We had many times meetings with the time Charlie Whiting, there was a race director, and the stewards, and the drivers were saying, I just want you guys to give us penalty. So if I'm the referee, what I need more to do it. And
yeah, I remember Jack.
And I'm not saying that that is easy to do it. That is a different story. But for sure, especially again with this format, where especially in the sprint race, there's the feeling that you have to be in front because you don't have time. I'm running out of time. I need to go there. I need to be there. It's a bit too much.
Maybe. I mean, there is still.
Even if the show is fantastic,
there's 10 laps.
It's 25 minutes of pure adrenaline, and that's for sure.
No, it has been incredible so far. Yeah. So, final thing then for this weekend, I think Aprilia's best here is 10th so far.
Yeah, it's quite a shitty race normally for us.
It's one of the weird ones when you read it and you're like, oh, it's kind of like still? Because most of those now you've got some really, really good like top 6, top 5s.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from the weekend?
I think that after a race weekend like Argentina, it's good to be here, proving ourselves that we can perform also in a track that we don't like. Actually, Maverick liked the track, and last year he started after a bad start. He started being fast, so I think Maverick could be fast. It will be a very important race for Aleix. Not easy mentally for him to approach. In 2 years ago, actually, he crashed 5 times.
I think, did you give him the fairing at some point, did I hear?
Yeah. We did with all the 5 crashes parts, and with also the let's say, the wording that was still our captain, so we were sure about his reacting. It's good to have Miguel back here. There's no reason why we should be slow here, and so if we will be slow, we need to understand why. But the bike has good characteristic for this track. Let's see the bump of this track that could affect the result, because when Aleix crashed so many times, mainly was also due to that. But last year was better, and for sure we must do better than last year.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure you can confidently hope for a little bit more than 10th after the form that we've seen so far. But right, okay, well, thank you very much for joining us, Massimo.
Thank you.
And I'll let you go and get on with the rest of your day. And best of luck for the weekend. Thanks so much for talking to us. Hope everyone watching and listening enjoyed that. And we'll pass back to Jack and Simon.